So it's Thursday, and on Thursday, we like to kick off the show with something we fondly refer to as the jargon of the day. This is when we take on one word, one phrase, one acronym. We try to figure out what are those experts talking about and what does this have to do with me, and ultimately, how can this help me to get to the progress that I want for me or for my family member, and can we do it as quickly and efficiently and inexpensively as possible, right? That's where the jargon comes in. We like to start with the actual definition, right? Which is often like so convoluted that we can't make sense of it if we're not experts, and a lot of us are not. And then we give you a working definition, which often makes our experts a little bit crazy, but we have to have a way of getting a way in, right? So Traven is showing you that today's term, there's by Carol Merrill. Tomorrow you're going to see us talking about Carol Merrill a little bit. So our term for today is escape maintained behavior. And this is a phrase that you will hear people use, escape maintained behavior. What does that mean? So let's go to our actual definition, which is one of those definitions that I really love where we just rearrange the words in the thing that we're trying to define. Behavior that is maintained by the ability to escape. There we go. Escape maintained behavior is behavior that is maintained by escape. You know, if you didn't know what escape maintained behavior is, are you any closer? Right? This is my whole, I'm like, let's use different words. Can we use different words? So let's move on to our working definition, because this is we're all pretty familiar with this. This is things we do to get out of doing something, and it works, right? So first I'm going to put this in a context of us, like things that we do to get out of something else. And it can be anything, right? You might be feeling something that you don't want to feel, and so you eat something, right? And then instantly you're not having that feeling, and then that's escape maintained behavior. You will continue doing that because it worked. It got you out of feeling the way that you felt, right? I always think about with our kiddos, the example of the kiddo who doesn't really want to take a bath, right? And so right before taking, we say it's time to take the bath, and we try to make it all fun, and we go to the bathroom, and the kid sees the bathtub and they have some fears about it. And so the kid throws a tantrum and lays down on the floor and kicks and screams and whatever. Now you have to deal with a tantrum, which means they won because they're not in the bathtub. Do you see how that works? And as long as I know that if I throw a tantrum outside the bathtub, you delay the getting into the bath for even 2 minutes, I'm going to do that, right? If I really don't like the bath, it's working for me, right? There are tons of ways. Honestly, I think the best example of escape maintained behavior are autism parents, because there's a lot of stuff that we go, oh, I just can't do that. And so we find a way out of it. Now, is it normal and natural to want to have a way out of something? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. And we find ourselves when we're on the other side of it and we're like, just do it, right? And why do we have to go through the tantrum every time there's a bath? And right? And we get frustrated with that. Just do it. But when does that ever work? Saying to people, well, you just need to suck it up, buttercup, right? Me and taxes, boy, I really don't want to do the taxes every year. It's not my favorite thing. And everybody says, well, take it to an accountant. See, that's not the part that I don't like. The part I don't like is when you have to get the receipts together, and you have to do that whether you go to the accountant or not. So that's what I'm trying to escape. And for me, as long as I can put it off, the better, right? And it works for me because I get the reprieve from it. Yeah, does it come back to bite me? Then I'm up in the middle of April, which is, a busy time for autism, right? When you're trying to cover autism, and suddenly I'm having to do the taxes, right? So I want you to think about, first of all, what do you do to avoid doing things that you don't want to do? And does it work? Does it work for even a minute? Because this is the thing about escape maintained behavior. If it works for a minute, we're going to keep doing it, right? And what are the ways that stop you from doing that? Well, one thing that stops people from doing that is when the consequence becomes so difficult, you stop avoiding the thing that you were escaping, right? Or you learn something new that helps it to not be so aversive, or you stop getting the reprieve if when, I'm going to use myself as the example, if when I was feeling anxious and I ate, if it didn't take away the feeling of being anxious, eventually I would stop eating to try to avoid, because it's not working, right? So for the example with the bathtub, with the kiddo who throws the tantrum to get out of getting in the bathtub, it really becomes important for us to teach them ways to ask for a break beforehand, to work on whatever aspect of the bathtub is aversive to them. It might be that we need to make the water colder or warmer. It might be that we need to make more fun toys in the bath, right? Or it might be that when they start the tantrum, we pick them up, and while they're freaking out, we make sure they're safe and don't put so much water in that they're, there's any potential for drowning, but they go right into the bathtub, tantrum or not. Because if tantruming doesn't put a pause on getting in the bath, eventually I'm going to stop doing that, right? So there are lots of different ways that we want to help a person. We don't want to just be like, get over it. We also don't want to just do the hardcore thing for some circumstances where we think that there's a sensory issue or an anxiety issue or a fear issue. One of the great examples that I have in my life was that my son learned, smart boy, we would sit down to do homework, and we'd do all the homework, and he enjoyed a bunch of the homework. We'd get to the math homework, right? And what he would do is he would drop his pencil on the floor, because he by accident did that once, and then he got down on the floor and was on the floor and started, doing something on the floor, and he realized that my attention wandered, and that it took me a minute to be like, hey, what are you doing down there? Come on, let's finish homework, right? So he learned, when my pencil drops, I have an excuse to go to the floor, and I'm going to get at least a minute out of this, right? And then he started milking it further. So he would try to crawl away and get at one of his stuffed animals and, do something. Because we're talking, this was kindergarten, first grade, right? So now it became a thing where he wouldn't just drop the pencil. He would take the pencil and go like this and be like, oops, right? Like early acting class for my son. Oops. And then he would have to go across the room to get it, and there would be his Buzz Lightyear toy right next to it, which then he would start to play with, right? And now it takes me a minute to get out of the chair and go over and bring him back, because I'm not as agile as I once was, right? So he was getting a couple of minutes out of it. And then I went, oh, we got a problem here. And it was made clear to us that we couldn't have that gap, that if he dropped a pencil, that he didn't get to pick it up. I had to have this ginormous cup of sharpened pencils on the table, and as soon as he went like this, another pencil was put in his hand, and his hand was put on the paper, and I'd go, look, and he'd be like, no, and I'd go, no, we're right here. And he didn't get the break from it. Even if I had to be gently moving his hand, continuing the homework, there was no break. So we went through one homework session from where we went through half the pencils, and we just kept putting it, and I had a therapist there, because you can't do this kind of stuff by yourself. And he learned, oh, okay, that's not working. And the pencil thing stopped. Now, in a different time from that, not while this was happening, they also were teaching him how to appropriately ask me and say, Mom, can I have a break? And then he was able to say, can I take a break? And I was able to say, yes, you can take a break from homework. We're going to set it. You can go play with the Buzz Lightyear for 5 minutes, and then we have to come back. It all worked, right? But escape maintain behavior happens because the escape worked. And so we need to look at all the different variables and figure out, because different things we have different amount of control over. There's some things where you can't keep jamming a pencil into their hand, right? But we need to look at all of the different aspects of it to be able to change escape maintain behavior. But I do want to ask you as a parent, those of you who are parents watching, what escape maintain behavior are you using with therapy? With dealing with hard situations that you just have been avoiding? you know, I'm very fond of saying to the therapist, don't let the parents, because a lot of us don't like parent training. It's just a fact. I don't mean to laugh about it, but it's like not our favorite thing, because we feel like, oh, I'm not good at this. I'm not as good as the 19-year-old who comes to my office who's so proficient at it, right? And so we choose to sort of avoid it, right? And it works for us because we say, oh, I can't do that today, and it works. And the therapist let us off the hook. But the truth is not what we need in the long run. A lot of times escape maintain behavior is avoiding something that you really need. So ask yourself, what can you do to make the parent training better? What can you do? Can you link it up to the fact that your child is going to make more progress if you do it? And sometimes that's enough. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes you have to give yourself a reward for doing it and saying, I'm going to do the parent training today, and afterwards I'm going to reward myself with X, Y, or Z. I'm going to go get that manicure that I've been saying I was going to do. I'm going to find some time for myself. I'm going to watch the show that I've had on DVR that I haven't been able to see. That's escape maintain behavior. Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.